Yes, Paige, I am back. Very acute observation. Sorry, I'm an asshole today. Hope everybody's doing well. Keep tapping and sharing. Alright guys, if you do disagree with the background prompt, hit the request button there at the bottom. I would appreciate that. I'll do this for a little bit. I don't have anything going on the rest of the day. I just don't feel like doing a live where I have to like be more intellectually engaged, to be honest. Hey Dr. Greg, thank you. Hope you're doing well. I just need more of a relaxed one, but give me a little bit. I'll probably switch to a different live later on. Like the other day, what was it, Saturday I think it was? I took melatonin the night before, and I think I took too much, and I was in such a brain fog waking up. I took like 3 milligrams, and I was so tired. I should not have went live. I don't know why I did, because I couldn't even think of a coherent sentence in response to everything that was said, and I felt just really dumb. And so if I take melatonin again, I'm just going to take a much lower dose. But I was so out of it the next day. I'm not talking about milk, I'm talking about raw milk. Yeah, no, Paige, it's happened to me before, so you would think, like, why did I do it again? But, like, it was 3 milligrams. We're not talking about like a super high dose, at least. But, yeah, I woke up with the biggest brain fog, like, all day. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't, like, I was just so tired and out of it, and it was so annoying. It was very annoying. Because I felt very dumb on the live stream. There was like very simple things that I know I always could respond to, I can always retort, and I just couldn't. And I felt very dumb. Yeah, you know what? I need to buy more magnesium. Magnesium actually really does help, because I don't think I typically get enough for my diet. But yeah, that does help. I need to get more. The reason why I took melatonin is because I'm trying to stop or at least take a break from gardening. So I needed something to help me sleep the first night or two, and I thought melatonin was going to help, and it did. It just really carried over to the next day, I suppose. So, lesson learned. You guys ever have these tuna things with the crackers? You know what I'm talking about? Like the ones that come in these packets? While I like them, I hate it when somebody else is having them. Tuna is probably the most disgusting thing when somebody else is eating it. I guess fish in general. Fish in general is great when you're having it, when you're the one eating it, but if anybody else is eating it around you, it's fucking disgusting. So I guess good thing you guys can't smell this. Ooh, tuna juice everywhere, guys. Disgusting. I've never had the hot buffalo one. I've always been a little weary at trying it. Anyways, guys, we are looking for opposition. We're just looking for anybody that disagrees with the background. Right now, guys, I'm just having more of a casual live. I don't have anything else going on the rest of the day, so I may switch on over to a different live that requires a little more thinking, I guess. Not that this one doesn't, but am I tired? I'm tired of you guys. Are you talking like today am I tired? In general am I tired? What are you talking about here? Alright, 1 second. I gotta change my audio here. Give me 1 second, man. Alright, what's up?
What's up, brother?
Not much, man, not much. Do you disagree with what I have in the background?
Seed oils. I don't. What's wrong with it? What do you mean?
No, I don't think anything is wrong with seed oils. I'm arguing against it. Whereas many, I don't know about many, but there are a group of people who do think seed oils are very bad for you. And I'm saying the opposite.
I don't really know much about seed oils, bro, to be honest with you.
Okay. Is there anything on screen that you do know a little bit? Because I'm just looking for people to debate, like people who have.
I know artificial sweeteners aren't good for you.
Okay. Anyone in particular? And any artificial sweetener in particular, or are you just saying them in general?
in general.
Okay. Okay. What do you think is the harm of them?
What's that? I
What do
think
you think
natural sweeteners would be better,
are natural, as in like just sugar, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, whatever's natural, yeah, bro.
So,
Artificial is like it's pretty much a trick on your brain, right?
what do you mean?
Like it just makes you believe that it's like sugar in there, but it's not.
Well, let me ask you this: and if that were true, and you think sugar is better for you, if it makes you think that it's
Well, sugar's
sugar,
bad for your health. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all bad for you, man. Artificial sugar, I mean, it's all bad for you. Milk, milk for calves, we should not be drinking.
okay. All right. Well, let's do one at a time. Would you rather talk
All
about
right.
milk or the artificial sweetener one? Which one would you rather talk about?
It doesn't matter, bro.
Okay, so let's talk about milk. Why do you believe milk in general is bad for people? Because I only believe raw milk is. I don't think milk in general is.
Because it's meant for calves. I mean, but I like milk. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I don't it's not good for us.
So I've heard that argument before, but what does that mean? Like, if it's meant for calves, why would it be bad for humans? Like,
Like,
what's harmful?
do calves drink human breast milk? Kind of
Well, I
like
mean,
that, stay in our lane.
I mean, you could give them that, but I'm asking you, what's the harm? Let's say people do drink calf milk from a cow, right? Which people
I
do.
think there's a
What,
lot of stuff in milk it's not good for you in cow's
okay,
milk.
such as what would be an example?
Like the what is it called? The what the fuck is it called in milk? I'm not sure, man.
Okay, do you want to switch to artificial sweeteners then?
Let's talk about something else, man.
I mean, we could talk about something else that's on screen, sure.
I like
So,
when you're like full
but
throttle. Fuck
to the
Trump.
to the milk thing, I hear sometimes that, oh, it's just meant for calves, but like I don't think anything's meant for anybody. I don't believe in a god, so I don't think like things are meant for people or not for people. I think we can just look at objectively: is this thing bad for people, or is it not, or is it like in between? And there's just no evidence that drinking milk, pasteurized milk, in moderation is going to be bad for humans as part of an otherwise healthy diet.
Yeah, I mean, I just
I'm
look at
not
it like
I'm not saying that you should be drinking a gallon of milk a day. Obviously, that's probably going to be problematic. But if somebody has, say, 8 ounces, 16 ounces a day of milk, and again, their diet is otherwise healthy, I don't see why that would be an issue.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I drink milk, but I mean, I'm just looking at it as it's meant for calves.
I
Like
but what does that
do we
mean,
drink
though?
goat milk? Do we drink goat
We
milk?
can, we absolutely can. There are people that drink oat milk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That's why it's hard to argue with you right now because I don't. This is not a very good topic.
Okay. So I guess to artificial sweeteners, you said you believe natural sweeteners are better. Why would, say, a can of Coke that has cane sugar in it? Why would that be better than a Diet Coke?
I mean, I'm not gonna say it's better. I mean, I don't know, bro. Honestly, this is a
Okay.
tough topic for me.
Okay. All right. Let me get to somebody who knows maybe a little bit more about this topic. That way, I can have a proper debate. That's okay.
All right, Doug. Have a good day, man.
All right, Teddy. Take care. What's wrong with raw milk? We're comparing it to pasteurized milk, Napoleon. What's wrong with raw milk is that it causes, or it leads to, an 840 times greater chance of getting salmonella, E. coli, listeria, etc., than does pasteurized milk. I'm not willing to take that chance. I mean, you are welcome to put it in your body if you want. I would recommend against it, though, personally. Mm. Mm. Oh, boy. All right, so I hope everybody's having a great day so far. If you guys can keep tapping, let's try to get over 1,000 likes. We're a little below it, so if you guys can get us above 1,000 likes, keep tapping the screen. That would be terrific. And if you do disagree with the background prompt, just hit the request button, please. But yeah, like this idea that certain things are on Earth for certain things or not, I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea. Um, I think that idea would ensue that something or someone put these things on Earth for like a certain species or not, and I don't personally just subscribe to that. I just think that's not the best way of looking at things. Who's not? Keep tapping and sharing though, okay? Yeah, listen, if you don't want to have milk because you're a vegan and you're just ethically against the idea of using animals for the consumption of food for humans, I get that. I do. I actually really do get that. Um, well, I'm not a vegan. I do understand why people think that way, but I think that's a very different argument than arguing about the health effects of these things versus not, right? I have no issue with somebody ethically being against eating animal based products. That really does make sense to me. I just don't feel the same way, but I get it. All of these have a place. I would say raw milk now, but other things, yeah. Everything else on the panel or on the screen. They run the request box. Well, I hope that hopefully they come back up. Terminal. Hello. How you doing? You're a certified eater. Terminal, are you there? Terminal going once. Terminal going twice. Terminal going thrice. What's it for four? We have once, twice, thrice. What's four? Anybody? I'll just look it up. Once, twice, thrice. Anybody? Once, twice, thrice, quice? I don't know, maybe. That's Hey, Sugar Melon, thank you. Am I a doctor? I'm not a doctor, no. Let's see. I don't think there is anything after. Let's see what Reddit tells us. Reddit knows everything, right? Once, twice. Somebody says once, twice, thrice, twice, thrice, twice and thrice. Yeah, twice, thrice, twice, twice, and thrice. Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't think there is anything after. Is it quitrice? Quitrice? Not to be confused with queef, exactly. But hey, to the person asking if I'm a doctor, I obviously your response is going to be, well, since I'm not a doctor, you shouldn't believe what I'm saying. This isn't my necessarily beliefs. This is just what the overwhelming amount of evidence says. And if you want to use an appeal to authority, the overwhelming majority of the medical and health-based community does subscribe to these ideas. Twice, thrice. I don't know. What comes next? Let's see. I don't think there is anything afterwards. I really don't. I think we have yet to invent that word. Well, yeah, no, I mean, that's my point, Snitch. It's like, I sometimes have them come in here and say, hey, are you a doctor? Insinuating that I shouldn't be talking about this since I'm not a doctor. Listen, of course I'm not a doctor, but if you want to appeal to them, they do overwhelmingly say this. Yeah, I don't think there is anything after thrice. I really don't. We got once, twice, thrice, and that's it. Oops. All right, but if you do disagree with the background, I'd love for you to come on up, okay? We are looking for opposition. Corey. Mm. Mm. Exactly, Katie. The idea that we have people in society today that believe raw milk is good for you, or let alone, so they think raw milk is not bad for you, let alone good for you, is just wild. it seems like we as a society knew 70 years ago overwhelmingly that this was the case, and it seems like we've almost regressed. It's wild to me. I do eat really random stuff, Corey. I really do. I'm eating crackers and tuna right now. It's what I have. It's what sounded good. I need a little bit more protein. Seemed like a good thing to eat. Is this a girl dinner? Eating a tuna and crackers? Tuna and crackers is good. It's a good meal. I don't know. I guess if you want to call it a girl meal, sure. Well, no, Corey. I mean, listen. That's something that people come on up and say, well, we don't really understand if eggs are good, and I don't know if you're joking by saying that or not, but I think when it comes to these things, I think it's important that we don't look at foods as binary, as whether being good or bad for us. I think again, it's really important that we take into context whether these things are good, bad for us, or in between, right? And again, I don't think it's probably the best idea to look at foods as good or bad. I really do think it's probably better to look at foods as being more healthy or less healthy for our diet, or less productive or more productive for one's goals or things like that. So in relation to eggs, I don't think it's neither good or bad. Is it? Can you make it a part of your diet in terms of calories or and things like that? As far as the saturated fat content, are you able to get it within the context of you getting a certain amount or below? Then I think it's probably fine. But science has definitely not flip flopped in relation to eggs. What has flip flopped is the media, and I guess more so now social media, their portrayal of such. Right? If you guys used to remember before social media, like on the radio sometimes, like in between a song, they would say, well, this new study came out saying chocolate's good for you now, or coffee is bad for you now, right? Like you would hear things or see things like that very often. And again, it's not what the study said, it's just what the media's portrayal of it was, because that's what gets clicks, that's what gets views and things like that, is by saying this study says this study says that. But when you look at the study, it really didn't say either. It was a lot more nuanced than that. Why am I obsessed with RFK? Because I think it's important that we have somebody in charge of HHS who is scientifically based and doesn't portray misinformation. That's why I'm obsessed with him. Because I don't think it's good that we as a society have somebody who's anti-vax. We have somebody who's pro-raw milk, and somebody who believes that acetaminophen causes autism. I don't think it's good that we have somebody who is this far behind the science when the science is well established at this point. That's why I'm obsessed with him. Well, Kai, I will say this. I will say this. I don't care that he has a substance abuse history. And that's not the part I care about. I think somebody can have a substance abuse history and today be scientifically based and not partake in those things. I don't think that's the issue. The issue is again is how far behind the science he is. Um, well, big sis, for one, the lady man that you're talking about was never ahead of HHS. That you fell for a Facebook meme. That person was never the head of HHS ever. And I'm sorry, I hate to break this to you, just because somebody is transgender, which I know you hate, I understand you hate trans people, that doesn't have anything to do with whether they are scientifically based or not, okay? Okay, so just don't fall for Facebook memes. That's all I ask. Just don't fall for Facebook memes. It's not that difficult. You could have easily just typed in, who was the head of HHS under Biden's administration, and you could have gotten the answer. But instead, you let Facebook memes tell you what's true or not, because you lack the ability to do it yourself. Everything that they get from society, everything that they... Big sis, you can look this up yourself.
This is the problem. You look to people to give you answers when you can just do it yourself. You can simply have just typed in the person's name and typed in what position were they in under Biden. But instead, you want somebody else to give you the answers. You want to be spoon-fed answers. I'm sorry, it's not that difficult to look things up. McMuffin, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, ignore the fact that my account is literally McMuffin, which is probably the most artificial thing there. But,
Okay.
like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know too much about food. Generally, like, in my mind, I just know, like, processed foods, ultra-processed,
Mhm.
like, like, generally going to be more bad for you.
Okay.
And then, like, yeah, raw milk is unhealthy. It's just not safe.
Okay.
That's pretty given. But, like, when it comes to, like, seed oils and stuff, like, in my mind, like, I've always been told, shouldn't do seed oils, but instead should do, like, avocado oil or olive oil.
We can definitely talk about seed oils. I'm not making a claim that processed foods are necessarily good for us. I think we all can generally agree that having minimally processed, more whole foods in general is going to be better for people. However, though, that doesn't mean that seed oils are inherently bad. But we have somebody here who can actually talk about this really in depth. What's up, Fnetch? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. So, first to address the seed oils thing, canola oil specifically is a significantly better source for polyunsaturated fats such as omega-6 and omega-3 when compared to olive oil, as olive oil is mostly a source of oleic acid, which is a monounsaturated fat that your body can very readily produce. Your body cannot produce omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids because you do not contain the desaturase enzymes required to produce those fatty acids, which is why when we compare canola oil to olive oil, it has a either neutral comparison, so they're just as good as each other, or even better outcomes when compared to olive oil. And this is based off of two meta-analyses that I can cite off the top of my head. The first is the effects of canola oil on body weight and composition in adults, an updated systematic review and meta-analysis of 32 randomized controlled trials. The PMID is 402-00305. And then you also have comparison of canola oil and olive oil consumption on the serum lipid profile in adults, a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials 358-66510. And before you start bringing up how funding and everything, yeah, these two studies were both academically funded by grants obtained by the university and researchers, not by industry or quote-unquote big food. And we also see this on multiple other occasions. So for example, tropical oil consumption and cardiovascular disease, an umbrella review of systematic reviews and meta-analyses, the effect of coconut oil consumption on cardiovascular risk factors. We see that saturated fat containing oils compared to polyunsaturated fat containing oils such as canola oil and other seed oils such as soybean oil, they all seem to have more favorable outcomes with polyunsaturated fats. Now, that being said, if you fry red meat and processed meat products in these oils, obviously the fried product is not going to be that good. But canola oil and soybean oil in your salad dressing is arguably a healthy food.
Okay, cool. That's actually really informative. Thank you.
Yeah, she's a good person to
Of course,
follow. I
I
definitely recommend giving her a follow. You can definitely get a lot of good information from her.
Yeah, I just did.
I also would recommend looking up there are some very new articles on specifically processed meats versus processed and unprocessed red meats compared to processed plant-based alternatives. They're still considered to be better when compared to red meat alternatives. So, and the reason for this is because when you consume animal fats, specifically saturated fats, and the reason why you see a high amount of saturated fat in animal products is because similar to us, most animals produce saturated fat and oleic acid or monounsaturated fat. They don't produce polyunsaturated fats because they're not in the classification of organisms such as plants that can produce omega-6 and omega-3 fats. There is a few exceptions, notably fatty fish, But for the most part, most animal products are a predominant source of saturated fat. And as a result, plant-based alternatives, even if they're processed, actually confer better health outcomes according to certain articles. A very recent review article, which is a little easier to read and digest than the systematic reviews that I just mentioned, by Jimenez et al. 2025. Ultra-processed plant foods, are they worse than their I believe it's, are they worse than their unprocessed animal counterparts? And based off of measurements such as LDL cholesterol, CRP or C-reactive protein, a measurement of inflammation, and body weight, plasma ammonia, and TMAO, which is strongly linked to heart disease and cardiovascular events. Substituting not only processed plant-based alternatives with, substituting animal products with plant-based alternatives that are processed, even though they're processed, still confers benefits.
Whoa, that was a lot. That like I tried to listen as best I could. I think I might have missed some things there, but I think I'm getting like general.
Ooh, that was loud. No, you're good. I understand sometimes it can be a little hard to digest, especially when she gets into the weeds of the studies. But hopefully you did kind of get a good understanding. And she makes really good videos that are a little more easily consumable at times if you want to check out some of her content. And she always cites her sources.
Thank you.
Always cites her sources. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I heard those sources, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, if there's anything else, I'll bring it on, okay? Hey guys, so if you do disagree with the background prompt, please do come on up. As you can see, you are going to have sources cited to you, so you better come with the opposite, right? You better be able to come on up. If you believe these things are bad for you or wrong, like it's good for you, you better have the evidence to show otherwise, okay? Also, Dr. Greg there at the bottom is also a good person to follow. Make sure you guys give him a follow too if you guys are interested in like science-based creators. Is functional strength real, but rather than muscular, just your neuronal pathway being on? I think functional strength is a bit overstated. I think people use that as like a way to push content, but I don't quite know what functional strength would really be. I think strength in of itself, muscle in of itself, is quote unquote functional. Are you talking about things that translate more to like things that you do in person? Is that what you're referring to? I don't know who said that. Well, whatever their name was. Oh shit, that's a cool gift. Thank you, Texas. That's a very cool gift. But functional is relative, guys. Functional is very relative. So if you're going to ask, is this exercise functional or not? I would ask you in relation to what? What is it you're trying to function better at? Like, for example, push-ups. If you want to get better at push-ups, sure, it's functional for that sense. But it depends on what you mean by that.
Function is based on what you want.
Yeah, it's a very vague term. It's a very, very vague term. But, like, just because you, like, for example, if anybody in the comment section, like, you may hear often that if you build muscle or strength via machines, that, like, it's not functional strength. Well, that's not true. Again, strength and muscle in of itself is functional, quote unquote. Say functional strength would differ, so maybe sport specific. Say someone, no, for sure, Connor, 100%. If someone is training because they're a football player, baseball player, of course the things that they do are going to be different than somebody who's just training maybe specifically just to gain muscle. Of course, there's going to be things that they need to do that translate to the football field or the baseball field or whatever. But functional again is relative to what they need. I have a friend who did his MD at USAD. Might actually be better doing more compound movements. Say lunges would be more functional for central nervous system. Again, if you're someone who's an athlete, it's probably a good idea that you get strong at like squats or lunges and things like that. Not saying that you can't do it like press or things like that. But I do think some of those movements would have a bit of a carryover. Hey, Summer, how you doing? Thank you. Like, for example, I did when I competed for powerlifting years ago. Um, I did the conjugate method, if anybody's familiar with that. Um, and for me, it was very helpful for powerlifting. I got very strong doing that. Um, and there's a good amount of athletes who use the conjugate method as well to help get strong for whatever their sport is. But right now, like, for example, I'm not competing in powerlifting or anything like that. I don't really have much of a desire at this point to do like deadlifts or just barbell squats or things like that. I do squats right now. It's just on a Smith machine instead. Well, Chevron, I think this stuff is important to talk about. You're right. I have done this topic for the last year or so, but unfortunately, we still have people who believe seed oils, artificial sweeteners, and soy are bad, and that raw milk is good. So until we as a society stop having people who believe these things, I'm going to keep doing this topic. Thank you, Monica.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah, very good. Trying to think if there's anything new is going on. No. Things are pretty good on my end. There's way more important topics, Chevron. Like what? What do you recommend I do a topic on? I'm open to suggestions. Are you saying there's more important topics that are related to health and nutrition, science, or politics, or what? But if you think there's more important topics, I urge you to do your own live stream, right? Like you had the ability to stream yourself, right? And if you think there's more important things, you think seed oils should be avoided, not because they're directly bad, but the produce they are used in. Well, no, Connor, I don't disagree that we tend to see seed oils in more processed foods, fast foods, things like that. But as it seems like you're acknowledging, it's not the seed oils itself. It's just the fact that, like, yeah, eating a lot of fast food, of course, is not going to be the best for one's health if they constantly get it. But if fast food, for example, was cooked with butter instead of seed oils or beef tallow instead of a seed oil, I would argue it would be just as bad, if not worse.
I would argue it's worse.
You know, I mean, I'm trying to be generous to say just as bad, but yeah, it probably would be worse. But yeah, no, Connor, it seems like you're acknowledging it's not the oil itself. But yeah, of course, oils in general are high in calories, right? And it's easy to overeat calories when you have things cooked in oils and stuff like that. But again, that's more like a calorie issue that you need to watch out for. But yeah, if you guys are cooking at home and things like that, it is very, very easy to overdo the calories via oils. Most people don't really measure. Like if let's say we're using like olive oil, for example, it's very easy to put several servings on without measuring it, and without even knowing it, you just added like, I don't know, 400 extra calories to your meal. When, of course, if you just measure it out, you could have added less. So in the context of that, yeah, it could be bad if you're not trying to gain weight, or if you're not trying to gain weight. Ooh, God. Trump's approval rating keeps getting worse and worse and worse. His overall approval rating is negative 20.1. I know it's not the topic right now, guys, but holy shit, that's getting bad. Fuck, that's bad. Do you add the macros if you cook in olive oil? What do you mean? Are you asking, like, do you track them, or does anyone care? Did anyone ever care about oils this much? It seems Maha invented. No, not really, Dr. Greg. I don't know. I've been paying attention to like the health and wellness industry since like 2010, and I don't remember people ever caring this much about oils until the last several years, at least. But the health and wellness industry always goes through so many fads. They go through so many fads, and the keto diet is big for a couple of years, and then you'll see the carnivore diet. It goes through these waves and things like that. It's hard to sell things, in my opinion, Like it, let me on the opposite. It's easy to sell stuff based on misinformation and based on fear mongering, right? Like it's easy to sell somebody on the fact that seed oils are horrible for you, and then you sell them some sort of supplement or diet based on that. But like scientifically accurate information is a hell of a lot more nuanced, and it's kind of more boring, in my opinion, than some of this misinformation you see out there. Is there still benefit to local pasteurized milk over store-bought?
That
Probably
doesn't
not.
really matter. So it's more so like a taste thing. So homogenization just refers, and by the way, you spelled it wrong. It's not homogen. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's homogenization, not homogenized, or whatever the fuck it is. Anyways, homogenization is just mixing the cream. So when you see in like local pasteurization, like local pasteurized whole milks, you'll have the cream on top. But you can remove that cream and you can make something called skim milk. And if you make something called skim milk and then you mix it up more, that's called homogenized skim milk. And that's what you get in commercial settings.
Any tips for fiber? He takes psyllium husks, but still not getting enough grams per day. Dr. Gray, how much fiber are you getting? I think like the typical recommendation is like 12 grams per 1,000 calories, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 14 grams per
Or
1,000
14.
calories.
Okay, 14. Okay, so even more. So for your average person, we're looking at like near 30. I don't know how important is it, Snesh, that you get fiber from different sources, like soluble versus insoluble and things like that?
I would say it's moderately important because it promotes a diverse gut microbiome. Different types of fiber appear to modulate different types of gut microbes. So, like you don't want to get all of your fiber from one source in a similar way that you wouldn't want to get your protein from only one source. And it's a growing field in biology. I'm sure Dr. Craig knows about this, but there's a new classification of if you've ever heard of like the code of DNA, you've got like the code of glycobiology. And considering the fact that fiber is technically a carbohydrate, I'm sure different types of fibers have a different impact on the type of microbes in your gut, just solely based on the understanding that glycobiology is this like ever-growing field of like this new type of code made of sugars. So just based on that, I would say that different types of fiber are necessary. And I would also say that vegetable fibers are a great source. I would say that high fiber, low calorie bread is a great source.
Would that be enough diversity?
By the way.
Would that be enough diversity for fiber, getting it from, I think you said bread and then vegetables? Okay.
Yeah, that would be enough. Also,
I don't get quite enough.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm always a little bit low on my fiber, as you probably noticed. But most of mine comes from that yogurt that I have, that fiber yogurt. I don't even know what kind of fiber is in there. I'd have to look. And then I eat that Dave's Killer bread as well. I'll show you guys, because this is actually a good way to get a good amount of fiber. At least this helps me. I'll show you guys. So we got two things here. Here. All right, so this is what I have right here. This really helps me. I get this at Walmart. Ratio protein fiber. So per cup, I get 20 grams of protein, 10 grams of fiber, which I think is pretty good. The fiber seems like it comes from chicory root. Yeah, chicory root. So I don't know. And then I also have Dave's Killer bread right here, which I get per slice. Gosh. I'm going to have to open this. Give me a second. Might as well eat one since it's open. 3 grams per. So if you have 2 of these, you get 6 grams plus 2 of these. You're already looking at 26 grams right there, which is pretty good. This fiber. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, those alone really do help me. I don't always have these every day. I know I should. I just don't quite. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, I would check out this bread, guys. Dave's Killer Bread. It has pretty good macros in it. 120 calories, 3 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein. So if you get 2 slices, you get 10 grams of protein. Again, two of these, you're getting 40. So you're getting 50 grams between these two. Plus, I think I said 26 fiber. I think that's pretty good. Dave's Bagels have more fiber. Well, that makes sense because a bagel certainly is going to have just more to it than a slice of bread. Protein fiber yogurt is Yahtzee? What? What's that supposed to be, Greg?
I just wanted to mention about what Connor is saying. Store-bought milk is not more estrogenic or less estrogenic than like locally farmed milk, because all milk will contain estrogen. But even if we're talking about that, the estrogen itself will be broken down very similarly to other fats in your food. So it's not really going to have an impact on your actual estrogen levels. And just to give you like a physiology tidbit here, what happens when you consume anything that contains fat and cholesterol is you have basically something that is like called conjugated bilirubin, otherwise known as bile, that basically breaks apart all of your fat molecules, throws them into a little package inside of your intestinal cells as chylomicrons, and they get passed around your body, and whatever it was beforehand, whether it was the cell membrane or something else, you really don't need to worry about it because it's all being broken down anyways.
Kirkland protein
Yeah,
bars
it's
have 10 grams of
negligible.
fiber. Jeez. I've never tasted a protein bar that tastes good, guys. If you guys find one that tastes good, let me know. The best protein bar I've ever had is the Gatorade protein bar. That's like
You have to try Bear Bells.
What's it called?
Bear Bells. You have to try Bear Bells if you don't like traditional protein bars.
How do you spell it?
BAREBELLS.
And it tastes pretty good for a protein bar?
It is so fucking good.
Okay. Bear Bell. Okay, I see it now. I'll try it out. I've just never tried a good one. They always have that taste to it. It's really hard to put like a name to it or whatever. But you guys all know what I'm talking about. Like all these protein bars have a texture or a taste to it that just tastes like off, I guess. Like Quest bars. I don't know why people like those. It tastes like you're eating fucking like Play-Doh or something. Yeah, chalky or something. I can't really put a word to it. RX bar. I think I've tried that one before. That one's not awful.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't with the RX bars. Those are like biting into a freaking mud brick. I can't.
Although, guys, most people, I see a lot of people think they need more protein than they do, though. So keep that in mind. You may not need as much as you think. I would aim for about 0.8 grams per pound. In other words, 80% of your body weight in grams. I think that's probably more than enough. So if you weigh 200 pounds, 160 grams. If you weigh 150 pounds, 120 grams. If you weigh 100 pounds, 80 grams. This idea that you need a gram per pound is probably going to be overkill for most people. I've even heard people recommend that you need like 1.5 grams per pound. That would be just, I don't know how somebody can do that. That would make my stomach go crazy. Seed oils cause inflammation. Well, Cam, I do implore you to come on up and tell us why you think that's the case. We don't have to argue. We don't have to yell. We can have a good discussion, okay? And guys, for anybody that does disagree, we don't have to like yell or argue or whatever. We can have a good debate. I just ask that you come up with evidence. 120 grams of protein seems impossible for you. At first it is difficult, I will acknowledge that, but once you kind of know the foods to eat to get enough protein, it does get a lot easier. Like for example, I have a protein shake every day that gives me 40 grams, because I put 1 scoop of protein with 16 ounces of milk, it gives me 40. And I have 2 of those yogurts, which gives me another 40. I'm already at 80 grams right there, and that puts me a little over half of what I need. It can be difficult. I do acknowledge that. But don't feel like you need to get the amount of protein that you have to have overnight. Work towards it, right? If you need to get 150 and naturally you only get like 60, work towards it. For next week, try to get like 80 grams. For next week after that, try to, you know what I mean? Just work towards it slowly. That way it doesn't seem so much of a shock or a chore. How much protein do we need? Asking for myself because I want to consume a good amount. If you are strength training, 0.8 grams per pound should be good. So, Ray, I don't know what your body weight is, but just do 80% of your body weight. That would be more than enough. Yes, baby steps. Snitch, what would you recommend just for overall health purposes? Let's say like somebody doesn't really work out, even though I think it's good that they do. What would you recommend just for health? Just overall, just health.
0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight.
Okay, so about half of, okay, yeah. And that comes out to being about 0.4 per pound, I think, right? 0.4 something?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's a good starting point for anybody in here. Even if you don't work out, try to get a little under half your body weight. If you weigh 200, try to get 100, 150, try to get 75. So it'll take time to work towards it if you're not used to getting that much. Dairy is your favorite source of protein, cheese, yogurt, milk. Yeah, I mean, if that's where you like getting your protein from, that's fine. What do you think of the argument that polyunsaturated fats are less stable and prone to oxidation? What are your thoughts on that, Snitch? What Andrew said there? Are you there, Snitch?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, you see Andrew's comment? They said, what do you think of the argument that polyunsaturated fats are less stable and prone to oxidation?
So first of all, unless you're cooking with your oils multiple times and reusing them, that is the only time in which I would say that oxidation is playing a significant role in having a negative impact on your health. As far as like just the consumption of oils and heating them to like let's say a decent temperature of like maybe like 140 Fahrenheit, I don't know. You're not going to see a significant degree of oxidation to the extent that you'll need to be concerned for 3 reasons. First, commercially produced seed oils and other oils like canola oil that are not commercially produced, maybe they're cold pressed or whatnot, usually they are preserved with antioxidants like synthetic antioxidants, naturally occurring antioxidants found in the actual plant itself. And because of this, the oxidation is basically reversed by these antioxidants that are able to kind of come in and rescue the situation. Second is whenever you're cooking food, you're not just eating the seed oil itself. You're going to be cooking it with other foods, likely, and if you're actually having a healthy diet, vegetables, which contain antioxidants which do the same exact thing. Third, you have natural antioxidants flowing throughout your body, one of them notably being one of them notably being bilirubin, which is the most abundant antioxidant in animal bodies. So, with all of that being said, there are 3 layers of protection to potentially protect you against the minor amount of oxidation that would occur from a single bout of cooking seed oils. And it should definitely be mentioned that if seed oils oxidize so easily, then quite literally every single human being on the planet, consuming seed oils or not, would be experiencing a significant degree of negative health outcomes, more so than we already are, mainly because polyunsaturated fats exist in animal products as well.
Viable, thank you for Rose. Once again, if anybody disagrees with the background prompt, hit the request button, come on up, okay?
This is also supported by mechanistic data, which found that single cooked or uncooked oils did not have a significant effect on colon polyp formation in mice. Same thing goes in rats, and it also has found very similar outcomes in other chronic diseases as well. So generally speaking, cooking your oils once is not going to cause them to oxidize out of existence.
Somebody asked about protein goals if you're very overweight. What would you recommend? Let's say somebody's like 300 pounds. Would you still recommend 0.8? Or do you think they can get away with a lower amount?
I think it depends on what satiates their appetite. Some people feel satiated by protein, some people don't. And it's kind of a hit or miss. It really depends on the person. I think it would heavily depend on personal preference and goals.
Fair enough. Yeah, for me, protein can be very filling. So for me, I just try to get only as much as I need to maximize hypertrophy, and that's it. Otherwise, it really fucks with my appetite. Which I already have a shit appetite as is, so. Make sure you guys send in the heart me, though, if you can, please. Keep tapping and sharing. And again, if you do disagree with the background prompt, just hit the request button at the bottom of the screen. If you're watching on the tube, you can also call on in, okay? I know there's not really anybody watching in there at the moment, but I look like I only eat plants. Well, I hate to break it to you. I am not a vegan. Sorry. For anybody asking where she gets her sources, I think almost every time she speaks, she cites her sources. So there's people, anybody who's wondering what comments I'm referring to, I'm also streaming on the tube. So people are a little more argumentative over there than they are on TikTok.
I also have a list of all of my sources on my sources for discussion document, which is on the bottom of my link in bio.
There you go. Most things are unhealthy in excess. I mean, I think things are a bit more nuanced than that, but I mean, sure, I guess. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule, but yeah. Choice exists. Leftist Lisa, how you doing? Yeah, listen, guys, I want to make it very clear. I'm not telling people, we're not telling people, like, you should eat this or shouldn't. This is all up to you. Like, this is just I'm not going to speak for her. I think you should be able to eat whatever the fuck you want. It's your body. You should decide what you want to put in it or not put in it. We're just informing you on what the evidence and the science shows. You can make decisions from there. If you want to have raw milk, have it, okay? I don't think it's a good idea, but again, it is your body. High fructose corn syrup is bad for us. High fructose corn syrup is illegal in Mexico. Okay, I don't care if something is illegal or not. Guys, something being illegal or not in a certain area doesn't dictate whether it's good or bad. Alcohol in the U.S. was illegal for a year, 2 years, whatever it was, a couple of years, and then it wasn't. That doesn't mean all of a sudden it got good for us because it wasn't illegal.
Also, high fructose corn syrup is not banned in Mexico. It's legally permitted and widely used in processed beverages and foods.
Where do people come up with this misinformation? Like, how does somebody get something so wrong when that stuff like that's easily searchable?
Well, certain foods that commonly use high fructose corn syrup, and just so you know, it is not a lot. Like, I don't think that you can actually sell high fructose corn syrup straight up in the United States. That I actually do believe is currently restricted by the FDA. Based off of my personal reading. But that being said, Coke in Mexico is not made with high fructose corn syrup, which is probably where people get this misinformation from, is you don't find it in a lot of the common foods that you would think to find it in. And so, maybe it's banned. In reality, it's not, or it's named something different, E29, whatever, the red dye 40 in Europe versus the Americas.
Again, if you're watching on the tube, please do come on up. There's a phone number being posted. Or actually, maybe it's not. I don't think my mod is there. If you do want to come on up on YouTube, just tell me in the comments. I'll give you the number, okay? In fact, I'll just read it out. And this isn't my phone number. It's a Google Voice number. So for all of you trolls who thinks it's funny to keep calling that number, I don't get notifications about it. You're not annoying me. But you're welcome to call as much as you want, if that makes you feel better. All right, so the number is 813-603-8878. Here, phone number to call in, 813-603-8878. There we go. Call on in if you want. Thank you, Phoebe. I appreciate you. I think David has some stuff going on today, so I haven't seen him in the live. He's normally like the first person in the live, like almost every single time, so I assume he's busy or something. If you're a broke college student, what are some foods you recommend to cover micronutrients? I don't know, it's a good question.
Coho salmon.
What is it?
I recommend coho salmon, and yes, even though it's a little bit of an investment, I spend approximately $50 a week on my current grocery budget, and I hit all of my macronutrients thanks to literally just buying coho salmon, because it had, and coho salmon from Aldi's specifically, because it has around 80% or 60 to 80% of your vitamin D requirements, which is notoriously hard to get. So if you're looking for something to satisfy vitamin D, as well as a slew of other things like omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acid requirements, coho salmon, it is my savior.
Well, there you go. No, somebody says fish is bad because levels of mercury. I don't think that's probably something you should be concerned about. How much fish would you have to have for the mercury to be an issue? I feel like you'd have to have a lot.
Depends on how much selenium is in the fish in the first place. So something like shark or swordfish, and certain other like predatory fish that don't have a high level of selenium. The selenium can't bind to, I believe it's methylmercury, in order to conjugate it and make it a little bit less harmful for you, because it basically allows it to be excreted. So depending on the fish that you're looking at, tuna you can have a little bit more of. Swordfish you want to restrict a little bit more because it doesn't have as much selenium to bind with the methylmercury.
Yes, I have boomer tendencies, guys. Yes, we all know this. I'm a millennial, but I'm a boomer trapped inside a millennial body, we'll say. I don't know why I'm this, like, incapable when it comes to technology. Heavy metals build, though, we cannot expel.
Not unless they're conjugated.
Ken, we're not talking about Israel right now. I understand you're probably trying to use that as a litmus test as to whether you should believe anything we're saying. To give you an answer, no, I don't support them. But that shouldn't dictate whether what we're saying here is true or not. Okay? But if that helps you, then by all means, sure. You feel the way AD looks. I don't think that's good, Phoebe. Is it good to straight up drink seed oils? It's not good to drink any oil. But, like, nobody would do that. I don't know why people like. I can't tell if people are just joking or if people are purposely strawmanning what I say here. I'm not saying that you should go ahead and drink seed oils, guys. This is nowhere is that said here. Nowhere have I ever said that.
Yeah. Well, also, are people saying that you should eat tallow like cake? Like, I'm sorry.
Andrew, me saying I'm paid by Soros is like clearly like a joke. Like that whole intro I have is like so obviously satirical. I don't understand how people don't pick up on that. So no, Soros does not actually pay me. Gotcha, Andrew. All right. Thank you, Gabby. All right, guys, keep tapping and sharing. Make sure. Let's try to get to 10,000 likes. We're a little low on the likes, okay? The more we tap, more we send in heart meets, the more people we can get in here. Hopefully, have some good conversations. Raw milk can be safe if sourced responsibly. No.
No, it cannot be. So, when we're talking about raw milk, specifically, and I'm just pulling up a study right now so that I'm citing it directly. According to characterizing the bacterial microbiota across the gastrointestinal tracts of dairy cattle, membership and potential function. This is a Nature article. If you would like me to list out the DOI, I can, but it was published in 2015. Oh man, 2015, and it's by Mao et al. Now, according to this study, in approximately 542 genera that was observed across various areas of the cattle's gut. I'm not going to go too in depth because I'm sure you guys don't want me to just speak a bunch of jargon. Dairy cattle, even in a sterile environment where they're kept extremely clean as per laboratory requirements, still contained pathogens like Campylobacter, Clostridium, and E. coli. And the reason why is because cattle digest their food differently than humans do. And they basically allow grass and other really fibrous vegetables to rot in their gut. And they let their gut microbiome take care of digesting the nutrients out of that food. And as a result, you see pathogens that are bad for humans in a healthy cow's gut microbiome, regardless of the conditions they're kept in.
So whoever said that, hopefully you got your answer, okay? I don't even know how to say your name. Your name is literally just a bumblebee, so sure. No, thanks for asking that. I'm just gonna again call you a bumblebee, but there is just no reason to be drinking raw milk, like at all. There's no situation in which it would be as good or as safe as pasteurized. Just don't have it. But once again, if anybody does disagree and you want to have a debate, you guys are welcome to ask questions in the comments, by the way, if you're genuinely asking a question. If you want to come up and debate, just hit the request button, or if you're on the tube, you can call on them. Someone said, if I was stranded on a deserted island with nothing to drink but milking a cow, I would still heat that milk up. Yeah, fair enough. Using raw milk could be okay in cooking, but then you would be pasteurizing it. So in that sense, it wouldn't be raw at that point. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, I acknowledge, because there are people that come in here and say, well, I've been drinking raw milk my whole life and I'm fine. Yeah, like statistically, there are going to be people who drink it and are fine. right? Just as statistically, there's going to be people who don't use a seatbelt and are fine. Statistically, there's going to be people who smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol a lot and don't have health issues. That doesn't mean it's something that you should do. That doesn't mean it's something that's going to be the safest to do in relation to its alternative. You're going to eat raw chickens? I wouldn't eat really anything raw, guys. I don't know why we've gotten to this point where people think now it's a good idea to eat like raw chicken or raw beef or something like that. That's wild. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. What kind of tuna do I eat? Oh shit. Whatever was in that package, that little pre-packaged tuna that comes with the crackers. I don't know what tuna that is. I would have to look back and check. Evan, you're saying I'm wild. What does that mean? I'm just going to invite you out. You want to ask Snitch if she has any good books about PCOS? I'm sure she probably has some
No.
information.
Yeah, mostly studies, not really any books. Sorry.
What is it that you want to know in relation to it, Caitlin? I'm sure she can help answer it. Hey, Binky, if you can bench more than me, that's great. I don't give a shit. There are plenty of people who can bench more than me. Good for them. I don't base my self-worth off of how much I can bench. Sounds like you do, though. Okay, Binky. Binky, you're just going to go ahead and... I'll let you just talk shit. That's fine. Whether RFK can or cannot lift more than me has absolutely nothing to do with my criticisms of him. Again, I don't base correct information off of if somebody is stronger or bigger than me. That's not how we should determine if something is accurate or not. That would be a really silly litmus test to use. By that logic, anybody who's stronger and bigger than the next person knows more. So you should just always refer to the biggest, strongest person in the world, because according to your logic, they just know the most. And that's not going to bode well for you, I promise. Considering Ronnie Coleman at one point was probably one of the biggest, strongest people in the world, and the guy is a fucking dumbass. I mean, you guys might like him as a bodybuilder, but the guy has an IQ of like 4. So sometimes people just get really big and strong in spite of their knowledge, or lack thereof, rather. Sometimes genetics goes a long way, guys. If somebody has amazing genetics and they just lift hard for a long period of time and are on the right amount of gear, yeah, they're going to look really big and strong. And on the flip side, if you don't have the best genetics in relation to hypertrophy, you can be on all the gear in the world. And I'm using gear as a slang term for something else, just because I don't want to say it on TikTok. You're really not going to look all that impressive. I've met so many people over the years that take like not a small amount of gear, and they look like they don't even lift. And like, if you're going to take that stuff, at least look like you lift. Like at the very least, if you're going to do that to your body. I just couldn't imagine taking that stuff and then still looking like I don't lift. Like, that would be really sad. Why do I eat raw chicken? I don't eat raw chicken. I do not eat raw chicken. I have an IQ of 1 and can't lift a piece of paper. Well, I just lifted a piece of paper. Now what? You bet you know women who can bench more? I am sure. I am sure there are women out there that can bench more than 350 something pounds. That's great. That's terrific. Oops. Once again, guys, you may base your self-worth and somebody's knowledge off of how much they can lift. I would recommend that you don't do that.
I bet I can probably bench more than RFK Jr.
What's your best bench again? You have a pretty good bench, right? What is it at?
200.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm sure he has a decent bench, but
Look, from what I've seen, I know I definitely have better cardiovascular health than he is.
That's funny. Once again, guys, there's the phone number in the chat. You are welcome to come on up. Okay? You guys can talk shit in the comments all you want, but if you don't come on up to have this conversation, then your talking shit means nothing to me. All right, let's bring up this guest over here. All right, guys. Once again, we're looking for ops. You can call in from YouTube, or you can request from TikTok. Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I just need to know your age, please. How old are you?
I'm 20.
All right. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, the comment I gave you before with the oxidation of seed oils. Like, basically the argument for that, you know. I mean, if seed oils are easily oxidized, then oxidized seed oils are bad for you, then it's like not a good idea to use them. So technically, they are bad.
Did you hear her response about it when you mentioned that earlier? Okay.
Yeah,
so what do you have to
basically.
Yeah. So what do you have to say to what she said?
Yeah, I mean, because you can protect yourself from something harmful doesn't mean it's not harmful. Because you can, even if you have, like, let's say, like oxidants to stop the harmful effects of seed oils, like oxidized seed oils, doesn't mean you should still ingest them. Like, you could just replace it with like butter or something else.
So
Maybe.
you could take the same exact logic to red meat and then not have anything to eat at all. So there's another process called glycation, which basically occurs when there's a sugar molecule that gets stuck onto a protein, or basically a protein mostly, but it can also be stuck onto like collagen is technically a protein. Either ways, so it's basically when sugar gets stuck onto a protein. And glycation, the most advanced glycation end products, which are basically akin to the like quote unquote dangerous levels of oxidation, most of them occur in red meat products. In fact, most advanced glycation end products come from consuming processed or red meat. And after that, then you have like burnt food and other stuff like that. As far as like the oxidation goes, your body has developed a significant number of means to counteract oxidation. And without, for example, omega-6 fatty acids and omega-3 fatty acids, the ones that you're saying are oxidized, I will say that you will not have a good health outcome, namely because they're essential fatty acids that you require because, as I said, you do not have the desaturases to produce them. So there's multiple layers here. I could take the same argument to red meat and other animal products and talk about advanced glycation end products from just like the digestion process and from cooking. I can also take on that second layer of here, which is like the protection that your body already has against the oxidation of polyunsaturated fats. And then I can go on to the third layer here, which is that without polyunsaturated fats, you're not going to have optimal health outcomes because they are essential for your diet.
Yeah, I understand your argument, but couldn't you basically eat raw meat if you don't want glycation and end products?
Do not do that.
No,
You just don't need to cook
also
it, right?
occurs in digestion as well.
Yeah, but not to the same extent, I don't think, right? Well, I'm not read on this stuff. I'm just asking.
You just said that even though it occurs in a low extent, it's still quote unquote bad for you, so you should avoid it. So by your own logic, you would also have to avoid quote unquote raw meat. And just so you know, there are also dangerous things about raw meat that you don't want to have, such as E. coli O157H7 infections, which can literally lead you into something called hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can cause your kidneys to fail and not to have one of the most essential organs in your body.
So here we're talking about quantity, because let's say if you want to eat a lot
E. coli
of seed oils.
O157H7 naturally occurs in dead animal products, and as a result, you're likely to get infected. And if you do get infected, there is a high chance that you will have something called hemolytic uremic syndrome. And hemolytic uremic syndrome can cause your kidneys to fail. And I'm sure that kidney failure is a lot of a worse outcome than potential oxidation negative side effects that are already counteracted by several mechanisms in your body and supplement your body with essential nutrients like polyunsaturated fats.
Yeah, you mean like we have like vitamin E, vitamin like C, and all this stuff that protects. But the thing is, like, couldn't you just say like it's bad to a certain extent? Because I could say like I shouldn't cook meat that much because it can have these side effects, and I shouldn't eat that many seed oils because it can have these side effects. Like you could say that for meat. I mean, the argument still stands that it's not really that beneficial, right?
No, you wouldn't be able to make that argument because the amount that you would need is akin to a dose of canola, or I say a dose, but really it's just like one serving of canola oil to get the dosage of omega-6 fatty acids that you need throughout the day. Like there are various things that I'm talking about here that are essential in a regular quantity that you would consume throughout your daily routine. And then on top of that, E. coli O157H7 is unevenly distributed throughout animal products, specifically raw animal products. And so when we're talking about like risk, even if you consume a small amount of raw animal products, that's not helping you. And it's also not helping the fact that you'll likely be deficient in polyunsaturated fats if you're getting all of your fat from raw animal products.
Oh, wait, but you don't. There's still polyunsaturated fats in like things like eggs, or even small amounts in like meat. So you can still get the essentials you need. You don't really need seed oils.
Not enough.
It's like 1-2%, I think, and like for ruminants, it's like
yes.
less.
So not enough. Not
but you
enough.
don't really need it. You don't really.
But
need
yes, you do. It's an essential fatty acid. You do not contain You do not contain or have the desaturase enzymes that can desaturate bonds beyond the 9th position on a fatty acid. So yes, you actually do need omega-6 fatty acids to regulate inflammatory responses, both anti-inflammatory and pro-inflammatory responses. So in order to have a healthy response to stress and exercise, you need omega-6 fatty acids. And on top of that, individuals who consume an increased amount of omega-6 fatty acids have actually been found to have a reduced risk for cardiovascular disease. This is according to a meta-analysis of 150 cohorts, and it contains a meta-regression, dietary and circulating omega-6 fatty acids, and their impact on cardiovascular disease, cancer risk, and mortality, a global meta-analysis of 150 cohorts, as I said, and meta-regression. The PMID for this is 400-75437.
437. Okay, I'll search that up. But you know, I saw at one point a study that said that basically you could still have a good diet and be healthy with like, I think it said like 1-2%.
That's not a study. That's so there's no study that says that. There's only YouTube videos and TikTok videos, and those are not studies.
Well, I can search it up maybe, but I don't know if I have the time now. I mean,
well,
if you guys
Google AI
wanna...
is also not a study. This is
yeah, but I can
study.
search it and then I can go to the study after, no?
Again, you're not going to find a study on this because there is no study that is going to tell you that consuming less than what is required for an essential nutrient is enough when the essential nutrient is required at a minimal amount. And that minimal amount has already been discussed here.
Hey, what's the minimum amount? Do you know? Because I can't. Maybe I'll go leave the app and check.
So specifically, approximately 11 to 22 grams for adults. This is 5 to 10% of your total calories.
Man, that's a lot.
I'm going to start muting people on YouTube for spouting misinformation and not coming on up, okay? Stop saying something is bad because it's a chemical. Every fucking thing is a chemical. Stop saying that. You are literally going to get put in a timeout for spewing misinformation. Or just dial the number to come on up, okay? Sorry, I had to say that.
I would also recommend reading an article, The Omega-6 to Omega-3 Ratio, A Critical Appraisal and Possible Successor. It is a review article that goes through a lot of data. They actually cite multiple studies in this article, And it's where I found that meta-regression and meta-analysis of 150 cohorts. It's a very good article discussing why omega-6 fatty acids are essential, the myths and misconceptions about them, and just general understanding of the data that we currently have. Because currently there is no consensus that omega-6 fatty acids are harmful. In fact, there's only the opposite, that they not only improve things like liver fat, but also inflammation and abdominal obesity. This is according to a randomized controlled trial. Again, the PMID is 224-92369. The title is Effects of N6 PUFAs, also known as polyunsaturated fats, or omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, compared with SFAs on liver fat, lipoproteins, and inflammation in abdominal obesity, a randomized controlled trial, and found that compared with saturated fat intake, omega-6 fatty acids reduced liver fat and modestly improved metabolic status, even without weight loss. So these effects can occur in absence of other confounding variables, such as losing weight.
And by the way, she's doing cardio, guys. That's why she's out of breath. People tend to get a little out of breath when they do cardio. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, check out the study that you first mentioned. You said the code 400755431, right? And I'll check. Maybe I'll find the study and I'll come back because I don't have an argument. I just need to check the sources. All right.
Go right ahead. And if you're curious about any of the other sources that I cited, all of them are at the bottom of my link in bio in a free to access Google Doc called Sources for Discussion.
All right, perfect.
Travis and YouTube, just come on up. It took you like 20 minutes just to tell me what chemical you were talking about, okay? So if hexane is bad, tell us at what dose it's bad, and tell us why it's bad in relation to seed oils, okay? Don't just say hexane, therefore it's bad. Be a little smarter than that, please. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew. I'm talking to YouTube comments.
Yeah, I was going to check the sources and come back.
Okay,
so because
we
need to continue that maybe later.
I did want to mention that hexane is a petroleum-derived solvent that is completely eliminated with the extraction of seed oils from seeds. Similar to other different methods of like extracting certain chemicals. For example, sometimes when you're reconstituting certain lipid-soluble DRUGS, such as testosterone or progesterone, or what's another one? The one that I've worked with was tamoxifen, which is a lipid-soluble chemotherapy agent that kind of mimics fat-soluble DRUGS. And so usually when you're trying to combine or extract or reconstitute certain compounds with others and mix them together, you need some kind of, it's not a carrier per se, but it's a chemical reactant that helps to drive the reaction forward. And usually this reactant is dissolved or completely eliminated in that process. So for example, when I was reconstituting tamoxifen with peanut oil, you let the ethanol, which is toxic for injecting into like a small animal or a mouse, you let that dissolve before you go and inject it into the mouse. There's no ethanol or there's no alcohol in that substance anymore, similar to how hexane is no longer there after you extract seed oil from seeds.
So there you go, to the person in the YouTube comments that said seed oils are bad because of hexane. You got your answer.
There's also regulatory compliance. So industrial regulations require that the evaporation occurs to make sure that trace residues are under toxicologically significant levels. So even if there was a trace amount, that trace amount is so small, it would be akin to the contamination that you would see in everyday food items, even including red meat, which, by the way, newsflash, cows consume the same foods that they consume, very similar grains that we do, and they also consume, or at least they inadvertently, accidentally consume some of the contamination in our environment. So there's that too.
Travis, again, dial the phone number to come on up. No one ever in the history of the internet has ever won a debate, quote unquote, by doing it via the comments. I'm going to give you the phone number for you to call on in, okay? If you disagree with what she said, then it should be very easy for you to debate it, okay? The number is 813-603-8878. Call it. Okay? And once again, stop saying things are bad because they have chemicals. Stop it. It's a silly fucking thing to say. You sound ridiculous. All right, what other comments do we have here? She sort of just mentioned that, Jaflap, I don't know how to pronounce her name. You just said it's about how it's processed. I think she already covered that. Now, he says there are still trace amounts of it and could be brought back if the oil hits. What does that say?
Yeah, there's trace amounts of toxic byproducts such as heavy metals, hexane, other things, in practically everything that we consume. Because, as I said, newsflash, chemicals are everywhere, and contamination from humans is everywhere. So you're gonna find these chemicals literally everywhere. There's a reason why liver failure as well as other organ failures are known to commonly occur in people who consume herbal supplements like ashwagandha or shilajit. Because a lot of, well, not shilajit, it's not herbal, but either ways, sediment or herbal-based supplements that are derived from the earth where heavy metals congregate and contamination congregates and pollution congregates.
Well, there you go. Someone says they have a rule. If the product comes from the U.S., then they don't eat it. If it's from Europe, they have way higher standards. Not quite. I wouldn't use that as a end-all be-all rule. Yeah, there are actually many things that are banned here in the U.S. that are not banned in the EU, believe it or not. This idea that we have all these things that are banned in the EU is just not quite true. Well, of course, Travis, that's everybody's bullshit excuse when they don't have an argument. You guys have nothing left to say, then you say, well, we're not worth talking to. That's what fucking idiots say when they have nothing else to say. You are getting muted for the next 5 minutes. Goodbye. However, you still have the ability to call on in, Travis. Remember, Travis, if what you were saying is correct, you wouldn't say we're not worth talking to. You would come on up and you would literally just debate what was said. But you don't have the ability to do that. Hence why you're muted. And that goes for anybody. If you want to debate heavily in the comments, I'll respond to you here and there. I really prefer that you come on up. But if you get to the point of using the bullshit excuse that we're not worth talking to, or you're busy, which is bullshit because you've been commenting all day, then you are going to get muted. I'm sorry. It's not that hard to just admit when you're wrong on something. Okay, I guess I do need to go back to the gym in less than an hour. Apparently I have somebody I need to work out. Just found out right now. Whatever. All right, guys, keep tapping and sharing. Remember, please hit the request button. And guys, in general, we're happy answering questions and stuff like that. I realize I'm being a dick to Travis just because he deserves it. I'm not inherently going to be a dick to you. I'm happy to have genuine conversations. If you're just genuinely asking questions, we'll genuinely answer it back. But if you're very sassy in the comments, you're going to get the sassiness back. Okay, Skittles, I hate to break it to you. I don't care if Red 40 or whatever is in Skittles or not. Skittles are probably not something that you should be eating tons of anyways. And this idea that if Red 40 or whatever the fuck dye is taken out of Skittles, that automatically it's better. I actually think that's worse because it's going to give people the idea that these things are healthy now, and then you're going to see people eat more candy because of that. And I think that would actually be worse, in my opinion. Giving people the impression that candy is healthier because this thing is taken out is going to lead to people having those things more. And I listen, I'll say, like, I don't have an issue inherently with, like, certain dyes being taken out of foods. That's fine, but let's not pretend that it's, like, this amazing thing that's going to help people's health. We're talking like very, very minuscule differences at best, really. So no, I'm not against it, but like, let's not pretend that it's this huge, huge win for people's health that certain diets are taken out of foods. And same thing when it comes to fast food. If RFK, which he's not going to be able to, but let's say like he somehow gets seed oils taken out of fast food and replaces it with beef tallow, I think that's also going to be worse because it's going to cause people to think that it's healthier and people are going to start eating it more. Probably not a good idea that we start eating more fast food than we already do as a nation. You don't scarf down a box of toxic crap like most Americans like McDonald's, which is also a death food. Yeah, I don't think we should be fear-mongering certain things. I think we all inherently know that having fast food too often is probably not going to be the best for one's health. But I think giving people the impression that having one meal of McDonald's or Burger King or whatever is just going to cause them to like croak over on their life, I think it is fear-mongering, and I don't think that's the best thing you should be doing either. I think people should be given the appropriate context and should know when these things can be part of their diet or not. Like, we don't need to convince people that fast food is not the best. Everybody already knows that. What am I generalizing, Emma? I don't know what it is that I'm generalizing. I think people who work out deserve a cheat day. I don't really like to use the word cheat day. I think that implies that you're doing something wrong, whereas every other time you're doing something right. And I think that sort of is not the best mindset, because I think those mindsets can sometimes lead to eating disorders. No, you're good, Ray. You're fine. You're genuinely saying things or asking things. You're fine. I'm just correcting you. I just don't think using cheat day is like the best terminology people should be using. I think it just has a negative connotation associated with it. Such as, I don't think it's best that we label foods as clean or dirty. I think there's probably better ways to refer to food. Investor, how you doing?
I'm okay.
I just need to know your age real quick before we move forward. How old are you? Hello?
54. Yes.
I cannot hear you. What's your age?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you there?
I'm 24 years old.
Okay, great. What do you disagree with on screen?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, what do you disagree with that's on screen?
I agree with you on a lot of things, but I need to ask concerning the raw milk. What's the problem with it?
Yeah, so raw milk, and I'm going to cite this study over here, there's an 840 times greater chance of getting a foodborne illness from it than pasteurized milk on a per capita basis. I'll cite the study, but they looked at it over like a 5-year span. I think it was 2009 to 2014, looking at all people who consume dairy products in the U.S. that got these foodborne illnesses, and they found that there was an 840 times greater chance of getting it from raw milk or just unpasteurized products in general.
So concerning these little children who do have the raw milks from their, parents, what do you have to say about it?
I don't think parents should be giving them raw milk. I think that's very harmful to be doing that.
And before you go on, human raw milk is not the same as cattle raw milk.
Is that what he said? I didn't hear him say.
Well, I'm sure that's where it's leading into, is like, if babies shouldn't get raw milk, then why do we give human raw milk to baby humans? Well, the biggest reason for this is because the gut microbiota of a human is different from the gut microbiota of a cow, which basically rots their food inside of each layer of their stomach in order to further digest very difficult to digest foods like grass. characterizing the bacterial microbiota across the gastrointestinal tracts of dairy cattle, membership and potential function. This study was published in Nature Journal and found that the natural gut microbiota of dairy cattle, even in sterile laboratory environments, contained pathogens like Campylobacter jejuni, which can leave you half paralyzed, E. coli O157H7, which can lead to hemolytic uremic syndrome, which has been very notably higher in children nowadays with RFK Jr. promoting raw milk, in addition to Clostridium and Listeria.
So my question is, any woman who feeds a little child, there's 100% that the
So,
milk doesn't have any
You did not
pathology.
listen to a single thing I said, because I said that human raw milk is not the same as cow raw milk.
Exactly.
So we're
My
not
question
talking
is,
about
can
human raw milk.
you please pay attention with my
No,
question,
sir.
because I
Can you please
understood
pay
you.
attention to what I'm saying? Because I said that it was not human raw milk, cow raw milk.
Exactly. And my question is, since cow milk might be found with pathogens what you're claiming, my question is, doesn't a human raw milk have the same kind of
She literally addressed that.
I
literally
literally addressed this. You did not pay attention to a single word I said. I said that the gut microbiota and the microbiota in general of humans is different from the gut microbiota and microbiota in general of cows. This includes the skin microbiota, the gut microbiota. Even when we're talking about like the microbiota around the actual nipple, all of that is going to be different in a cow when compared to a human. So human gut microbiotas go well with other human gut microbiotas, meaning they're non-pathogenic. That is the reason why human microbiotas are not going to significantly impact human babies.
That makes sense. It really does.
Okay.
All right. And concerning the artificial sweeteners, what do you have to say about that? Because concerning soy, I have nothing to say about it, and seed oils, they are perfectly okay. How about the artificial sweeteners?
What about them? Do you think they're bad?
I want to know, because concerning our prompt, yeah, we have to agree. We had an exception to the raw milk, which I'm already clarified on. So what about the artificial sweeteners?
Artificial sweeteners are not known to cause any kind of chronic diseases. Particularly, a lot of people like to cite in vitro studies inside of a petri dish showing that artificial sweeteners can either harm or cause some kind of effect in various like cell lines, like cancer cell lines. But we are not a petri dish, and we also don't consume that much artificial sweeteners when compared to the amount of artificial sweeteners being dumped on these cell lines in a petri dish. So according to a systematic review and meta-analysis, two of them, you've got the Association of Artificial Sweeteners Intake and Cancer Risk, an umbrella meta-analysis. This was on multiple meta-analyses, and then also a systematic review of non-sugar sweeteners and cancer epidemiology studies. Both of these studies found that artificial sweeteners are either not associated or actually had a protective effect on gynecological cancers, so they're either neutral to positive. Additionally, artificial sweeteners do not cause weight loss and have been found in a systematic review and meta-analysis to have a moderately positive impact on weight loss outcomes and cardiometabolic risk, meaning that it improved these outcomes in individuals. And then, according to a very recent study called the SWEET study, artificial sweeteners improve the gut microbiota and weight loss outcomes in individuals with overweight or obesity. Additionally, according to two meta-analyses and systematic reviews, one from 2023 and one from 2025, artificial sweeteners do not have a significant impact on the glycemic response. This includes insulin, glucose, and appetite-regulating hormone responses. And all of those responses were either neutral to even slightly positive, similar to the effect of water.
That perfectly makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna have only last two questions. Yeah, supposedly we do understand that there are some conditions that some women are born of. They can't have, some raw milk for their infants at their early stage. It just somehow it happens, like it just doesn't
That's why
occur
we have
for them.
formula. So if you can't
So
provide
what would
breast
you
milk, then we have
suggest?
formula.
My question is, what would you suggest as an alternative? Because since an infant cannot get the raw milk from the mama, especially for a fellow human being, what would you suggest? That's the question one. Second question
Yes,
is,
formula.
what would I? The second question is, if there is an alternative to artificial sweetener, because I do believe that there is not artificial sweetener is not the only option. There must be natural sweeteners that a good example like honey and all these things. What would
Yes,
human being
so
try to
artificial
extend?
sweeteners. Okay,
Can
so
I
artificial
finish?
sweeteners, I already know what you're saying, and I'm trying to
Okay.
answer you. So,
Okay.
first, for the first question that you had, if a baby does not have access to human breast milk, then the next step is formula, which is specifically formulated by using scientific studies that evaluate the components of human breast milk to maximally improve outcomes in babies with formula. So, baby formula. Second thing, artificial sweeteners are only beneficial for weight loss because they don't contain sugar like honey does. Other naturally occurring artificial sweeteners, such as erythritol and allulose, those sugars, they can be a little bit harsh on digestion and they can cause some stomach upset depending on the individual. Currently, there's no evidence to suggest that these artificial sweeteners have a negative impact on the gut microbiome or digestion, as I explained with that very recent sweet study. And I would also mention that any negative outcomes are really only associated due to reverse causation. According to the use of low-calorie sweeteners is associated with self-reported prior intent to lose weight in a representative of sample U.S. adults. People who are diagnosed with obesity or overweight are more likely to consume artificial sweeteners because of the public understanding that artificial sweeteners are 0 calorie and can improve weight loss outcomes. As a result, they're more likely to consume these sweeteners. And people who are diagnosed with overweight or obesity are more likely to have a chronic disease in general. So it's something called reverse causation, where the artificial sweeteners are not causing obesity or chronic disease. Individuals who have these diseases and diagnosis of obesity are more likely to consume these artificial sweeteners instead.
It really makes sense. All right. So concerning the raw milk, you have settled every case. You really have answered very well, and I appreciate that. Just a little clarification concerning the reverse agenda. Concerning this, the entire prompt, I've seen everything is very natural apart from these artificial sweeteners, because this is the only thing that disturbs me. And anytime I see artificial thing, it just really doesn't align.
Yeah, this
There's
is
no
called
way
the
that
natural
the,
fallacy. This
there's
is
no
called the
way that
natural
a
fallacy.
natural honey would
Yes,
be
it's a
more
fallacy.
advantageous.
So
Yes.
naturally occurring things are not automatically better than artificial occurring things. In fact, a lot of artificial things, such as the medications that we have today, are actually less dangerous than their natural alternatives. A good example of this is is the original naturally occurring tree where paclitaxel came from. So paclitaxel is a cancer drugs. It treats cancer, and paclitaxel from the actual tree is combined with a bunch of other chemicals, making it significantly more toxic. So when natives used to use the tree bark from the paclitaxel tree to treat cancer, a lot of them would pass away because it was so bad for you. Then we artificially molded the actual active drug in that tree to make it so that way paclitaxel was less toxic for humans and could actually treat cancer. Similarly, with artificial sweeteners, they don't actually affect blood sugar levels. They don't have any significant impact on the human body. They're really just excreted and they loosely bind to taste receptors, giving you the sensation of tasting something sweet. That's not anything that's negative. In fact, I would argue that overconsumption of sugar is significantly worse for you than just consuming artificial sweeteners.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. All right, I've settled the case. And the last thing also, what do you think the perfect balanced diet that someone will need? Because for me, ever since I've tried to lose weight, I'm not so much of a weighty, but I've been in carnivorous diet, and there have been a very huge controversy between being a vegan and a carnivore. Because most of the time I tend to consume meat, but a friend of mine told me that it might shorten your lifespan because all these animal who have been using the carnivore, as you can see the effect, more pathogens or other bacteria that are not safe. So they told me that you have to be more vegan. So what is your stance concerning that? What is the perfect meal that a human should eat?
You can it's really dependent on who you are and your allergies as well as your personal preference. I will say that there is like a slight like so you can be a healthy vegan if you leverage certain options properly. So a lot of foods are fortified artificially with vitamin B12. As I said before, artificial things are not inherently bad. A lot of them are meant to make our lives easier and better. One of those things is B12 fortification. So you can lead a healthy life as a vegan so long as you are consuming fortified foods and you're making sure you're having a diverse diet. That being said, with the carnivore diet, because you're only restricting it to animal products, which are known to increase your risk for colorectal cancer as well as cardiovascular disease, I don't believe that there is a way to be a healthy carnivore. And so I would opt for either being vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan, or just having an overall well-balanced diet with a little bit of red meat here and there, and you'll be perfectly fine. The ideal is that you're consuming less than 10% of your diet of saturated fat.
Thank you very much. I'm satisfied. Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind of knowledge you have. Thank you very much. Settled it.
Cool. All right. Well, appreciate the conversation. Okay.
All right. Take care, bro.
You too. You too. Take care. Okay. That's a good conversation.
That was chill.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, there isn't like one specific diet you should eat. As Westner said, it's just going to vary so much depending on things. There are certain things you're going to need in your diet, but beyond that, I think it's going to be very individually based. In general, though, I find people don't do well with fad diets. I'm not saying that you can't have success with one, but I don't typically see people do them consistently for a long period of time.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I have met people that do well on a keto diet or whatever the case might be, but they seem to be in the minority.
I think the only quote-unquote fad diet I could see being, I guess, like potential for having like a well-rounded, not to mention a happy diet is probably
Like
the vegan
Mediterranean?
diet, just because,
Yeah.
vegan or vegetarian, because you see so many different alternatives now that actually taste good. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, as you said, I think somebody absolutely can be vegan and still be perfectly healthy. I don't think you can do that with the carnivore diet, though. I don't think there's any modifications one could make to the carnivore diet that would still make it a carnivore diet, but that would make it healthy.
Yeah, I do not disagree with that.
No, common sense, you're right. Mediterranean diet isn't really like a diet per se, but it's, yeah, I see what you're saying. I was on keto diet and it was hard and had to quit. Yeah, I mean that's really the case I see with a lot of people. A lot of people just don't feel good being low carb. That's one of the things I've seen. They just tend to like just not feel great overall. Their energy sucks, etc. Or it's just not sustainable. I think that when you are creating a diet, if you will, or a habit of eating, you should create it in such a way that you can see yourself doing it long term. If you can't see yourself doing that diet a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, I don't think it's probably going to be the best for you in terms of longevity. Now, if you want to if you're competing for something, if you're trying to lose weight specifically for an event, okay, that's a different story. But if we're just talking about longevity and health, I think that's the mindset you should probably be in. Let's see what else we got here. Colorectal cancer is on the rise. Well, that's true. That too, Alex. Yes, and this idea that we don't need fibers is crazy. I mean, I see the carnivore people claim that we just don't need fiber, and that's not gonna end well.
Oh yeah, there's a giant umbrella review on over 17 million individuals, which basically consistently found that fiber reduces risk for chronic disease. Something with that level of consistency is almost unheard of in science and medicine. Finding a consistent outcome across 17 million people that is like strongly consistent, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Doctors used to tell you all the time to quit all carbs. Yeah, number one, I don't think that's possible. Two, I just don't think that's a good idea either. That I do have an issue. I don't think you were on the live, Snitch, but like sometimes we see general practitioners not give the best advice when it comes to health and like nutrition, and it's tough because like I don't want to necessarily put doubt into the medical community because there's already more than enough doubt, but like sometimes they don't give the best information, like general practitioners.
I mean, the thing is that doctors aren't researchers,
Right.
and so like I love like doctors have their like field and their specialty. They're really good at diagnosing people. They're not.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have, unless they're like MD PhDs, meaning that they're a doctor and they also have experience in research. Unless they have that extra experience or they've had an experience before in their lives, they probably don't know how to go out of their way to find and interpret a research article properly.
Yeah.
I mean, they have my empathy and sympathy and whatnot, and so like I'm happy to explain to them where they're going wrong, but like it's just not their job. So like why would I expect them to know how to do something that's not your job?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. No, I agree with that. Hey guys, once again, you can hit the request button on TikTok to come on up. It's at the bottom left if you're watching on the tube. I'm going to put the phone number back in the comments so you can call on it if you want. Our stomach was made for fiber. That's why we have an appendix so the microbes can hide when you're sick.
They realize that their appendix is at the end of their cecum, right? Their cecum is their large intestine, not their stomach.
I don't know what they were trying to say there. Anyways, anybody who disagrees with the background, again, we can have a good debate. Just come on up, okay? I have 25 minutes before I do need to go, but I've already been live for a little bit, so and I may be live even later on tonight. We'll see. We shall see. I still have like half my calories remaining for the day, so yeah, fuck. This gets stressful. Let me enter my fiber. It's funny how when I show where the appendix is, my students have no idea. Another body count live? Oh yeah, I haven't done that one in a little bit. That would be a good idea, Caitlin. I do enjoy the body count lives. It's entertaining to say the least.
By the way, Professor Alex, I think I had a I don't know what happened with my classes this semester, but I did not get a single email from a single student asking me to change their grade. I must have been a bomb teacher this semester, so I'm so excited to see my student evaluations.
Judy, yes, we were just saying that fiber is good, yes. Sure is.
I know, I was surprised too.
Just got a couple. Just look. All right, so we got 66 people in here. If you guys can help to keep tapping, that would kind of help us be on the FYP so we can get more people on. Let's try to at least get to 10,000 likes, okay? We're at 7.2. If everybody can start tapping a bit, that would help. And it should hopefully get a little more people into the live. Yeah, the guy in YouTube, I don't even know how to pronounce their name, but not everybody wants to necessarily have meat. You know, so again, if somebody is a vegan, like they're gonna have to find other ways of getting B12. So not everybody wants to have meat. All right, what else we got? Yeah, I've been live for almost 2 hours at this point.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's been a good live. Sometimes I get like a lot of crazy people up on this live though. Today hasn't been so bad. I remember last year when I first started doing this live stream here and there, like one after another, I got some really wild people coming up, seeing like the most outlandish shit ever. Yeah, if you guys can help share this live, repost it, etc. Again, send in the heart me if you haven't done so. I would appreciate that. Is there anybody left in YouTube? Comments kind of slowed down there. I think the crazy wacko MAGA are waiting to come out of their cave. Maybe. Sometimes it depends on when I do live streams. There are certain times where I do them and I get a lot of people in. It seems to be very random. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to it. I've had a lot of people in live streams where I was live at like 7 in the morning, and I've been live at like midnight having a lot of people. So it just seems very up in the air. Caitlin, probably more so. I mean, yeah, probably on average. I would guess the average age of my YouTube viewers are higher than the TikTok ones for sure. They definitely seem to be more combative. I will say that the YouTube comments are like definitely worse than the TikTok comments. Like every single live stream. Boomer rage, yeah. Having said that, if you're enjoying the live, make sure you click the subscribe button and follow me, okay? Please and thank you. Well, I'll give it another minute or two to see if we can get somebody to come on up. If not, I'll end this just a little early. But I'll give it another minute or two. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate it. And I'm very close to 1,000 subs on YouTube. So again, if you don't follow me there, please do. I'm trying to build that one up. All right, guys. Well, I think it's starting to slow down a little bit. So, well, hold on. Let me answer this question first. I noticed this isn't a workout live, but what do you think of using Bluetooth D handle? I've been seeing that lately. I don't know. It looks ridiculous. You know what they're talking about, Snatch?
Yeah, I know what they're talking about. I mean, I've done it before, and I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't really change much from just gripping my sweater. So, like, if I'm just, like, holding my sweater as if they are the quote-unquote Bluetooth D handle, I haven't really noticed a difference. Like, as long as you're gripping something, then you're pretty much good.
I'm trying to. So, what would be? So, Alex is asking, what is that? What would be an example? Like a tricep pushdown, sort of. I guess you would do it. I don't really know much about it. I haven't really.
Like a
You can do
lateral
it.
raise.
Oh, so if like you have something attached, if you have something like attached to here, gripping something would
Yeah.
help. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, if you have something where you usually do have something that you're holding on to, so, like, for example, a lateral raise on one of those, like, lateral raise machines, it
Yeah,
can
yeah,
help to have something to, like, hold on to. Just, like, you don't need to have a D handle. You can literally use anything. There's been times where I use, like, my energy drink for it.
So how does that help? What's the mechanism behind that? So let's say, because I do use the lateral machine, I think like twice a week right now. So what's the benefit to that?
So specifically, it helps with it's called Sherrington's law of irradiation, which basically contracting or squeezing one muscle group in your like forearm or hand will send stronger nervous system signals to also activate the muscles of like your shoulder or your bicep or whatnot. So like if you were doing like something with like a wrist cuff and you were doing like a bicep curl like that, having something to grip onto will just tell your brain, hey, I'm holding on to something and trying to curl my arm up. please send more signals to these muscles, and more signals will be sent to improve the power output of your movement, which makes sense conceptually.
Are there any like studies done on that though to show if that actually makes a meaningful difference in terms of like muscle and strength over a period of time?
Yeah, there is. So if you just look up Sherrington's law of radiation and then PubMed, you'll see a few studies. One that just popped up is one by Guntijo et al. 2012. Evaluation of strength and irradiated movement pattern resulted from trunk motions of the proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation using Sherrington's law. Let's see. I'm gonna see if there's anything on like specifically like a bicep curl. So let's see. Share law. I'm still trying to find a good one. I'm sure there are studies on it. It is an actual thing. It's why it's called Sherrington's law of radiation. I'm not sure if there's like good studies on the specific topic. But conceptually it makes sense. Like if you have a bunch of muscles, because your brain doesn't know what movement you're doing. So if you have muscles that are commonly involved in the movement, it probably does have some kind of effect. That would be so cool, Alex. Please do a study on it. That would be so fun. Also, Professor Alex, I wanted to ask if you are, perchance, a research professor as well.
I think she. Well, she'll answer you. But. Keep tapping and sharing, everybody. The person in YouTube says, I look like I don't think soy is bad for us. Why don't you just come on up and debate it then? It's not really an argument. Thank you, not. I appreciate you. And once again, if anybody disagrees with the background, you can come on up, okay? You can either hit the request button at the bottom of the screen, or if you want, you can call in from YouTube, okay? Hello.
Okay, I did not expect to actually join. How are you?
Yeah, what's good? I just need to know your age real quickly, just make sure you're above 18.
Yeah, I'm 24.
Okay, what's on your mind?
Nothing much. I just came to say I love the photo, and I saw your live because I follow Scientific Snitch. So what's up, Scientific Snitch as well?
Oh, cool.
Oh, hi.
What's up,
do you have any specific questions or anything?
I didn't actually think I joined, so no, I don't. I'm literally finishing up my break, so I just wanted to say hi. I'm gonna
no worries, no worries. No, that's good. I appreciate you. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Take care. Have a good one.
Oh man, I'm still trying to get this stupid thing to load.
What is it you're trying to pull up again?
I've been doing some research into like Plan B universities because if my Plan A for my PhD program doesn't run out, I need to have Plan B options. So going through the arduous process of looking for graduate schools again.
All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up because I got to be going here in the next 10 minutes anyways. But I do appreciate everybody watching. I would like to hopefully go live afterwards if I can. I'll let people know in Discord and the bulletin board thing, okay? But yeah, make sure you follow me, click the red follow button, subscribe on YouTube. Snitch, anything you want to say before I drop?
Nope.
Oh, wait. We actually have somebody. This is going to be fun. Hello, Johnny.
What's up? What's up, bro?
You got a good argument today, or are you just coming up to your usual shit?
It's hard to have a good argument with you because anytime you get sensitive, you just kick me.
Okay, great. Provide a good argument then. Go for it.
So seed oils are not bad?
Uh-huh.
You think
They're
seed
not.
oils are not bad?
Mm-hmm. If you think they are, tell us why.
There's been studies that
Okay.
McDonald's and whatever they went from some oil to seed oil, and that's how it became unhealthy.
Okay, what's that
No.
study? What study are you referring to?
That's what Kennedy found. And
Okay,
Kennedy, and you know what's funny?
What's
If you
the
look
study?
at the, excuse me, my turn.
Do you have the study?
If you see what the person in charge of America's health looked like beforehand,
Do you have the study?
Excuse me.
This isn't an argument, Johnny. This is why nobody likes
This is a
you.
debate.
This isn't an argument. We don't base something
By the
off
way,
of who.
RFK
Okay.
Jr. has not.
Nobody likes me. Yo, you're literally a fucking joke at my job. We all make fun of you every day.
Good. I hope they do. Okay,
We don't
great.
like
So
you.
tell us the name of the study, Johnny. Don't tell us about how you're attracted to RFK. I don't give a fuck if you want to fuck him or not. Okay, that doesn't determine whether he's right or not. Tell me the name of the study.
No, you're on that
Just so
homosexual.
you know, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has not posted a single study aside from a single Times article called Time 100 Scientists and Thinkers, Michael Bloomberg. This is not a study. That is the only thing under Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name. That said, there are studies such as the effects of canola oil on body weight and composition in adults, an updated systematic review and meta-analysis of 32 randomized control trials, comparison of canola oil and olive oil consumption on serum lipid profiles in adults, a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized control trials, tropical oil consumption and cardiovascular disease, an umbrella of systematic reviews and meta-analyses, butter and plant-based oils intake and mortality, soy consumption and risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases, a systematic review and meta-analyses, cooking oil/fat consumption and deaths from cardiometabolic diseases and other causes, a prospective analysis of over 500,000 individuals. And I could go on and on and on. However, here's the thing. All of those studies have found that canola oil, as well as other polyunsaturated fat-containing seed oils, have a beneficial impact on cardiometabolic outcomes, as well as other chronic diseases, including cancer. So you are wrong.
So why were we so unhealthy under every liberal administration? Under liberal administrations.
Regardless of the administration that you talk about, physical activity levels have dropped significantly in both occupation, so occupational related physical activity levels, as well as basically your chosen physical activity levels in the gym, in addition to a significant increase in caloric consumption. Currently, the recommended daily intake is 2,000 calories, and the average American consumes over 1,000 calories more than that. So that is the reason why
I'll explain why.
No, I already explained.
Okay, then if you don't want me to talk, then drop me, because I want to give my argument.
But Johnny, you're not smart enough for this conversation. You
okay,
just
so
like to debate.
Why was you
so John? Because you're entertaining.
No, I'm not entertaining.
You are.
I always get the upper hand against
great.
you.
So I want you. So if you're claiming that under liberal administrations we're unhealthier, give me evidence that we're healthier now because we're under a conservative administration. Please provide
How about this? You guys, you and all the liberals, when I was in school, you guys try to force everything. You try to make school lunch healthy, and it tasted so bad afterwards. Your Michelle was, what's her name?
Okay, now you're trolling.
Mitchell Obama.
Now you're trolling. Now you're trolling.
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling.
That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. You don't like it that they try to make lunches healthier?
You don't remember what Obama's...
You don't like it that they're trying to make foods healthier? That's a bad thing to you?
When you force something upon kids, they're not going to like it.
Okay. What would you recommend to eat
also,
instead?
I recommend try to have a combination between stuff that tastes good and also protein too, or stuff that kids need, like fruits. But instead, your leader, Michael Obama, made school lunch very...
We're not doing transphobia, Johnny. The moment you say another transphobic thing, I'm going to kick you. No questions asked.
Oh, you have feelings now, Doug?
Yes.
Hey, Johnny, just out of curiosity, when was Trump elected again?
That's the fucking gay flag. Fuck that. The point I want to make is
data. No.
Johnny, that's data, not a flag.
So this is data on heart disease mortality, and it's basically stratified by the specific disease that caused heart disease mortality. So whether it was rheumatic heart disease, cardiomyopathy, heart failure, arrhythmias, that's the different colors. It's not the gay flag. It is literally just different diseases. Now, when exactly was Trump elected again?
You already know the answer to that. Why are you asking me?
No, I'm asking you to point it out.
I think you know. I think you know.
Do you not know when Trump was elected?
I
And you're
do
just
know.
like refusing to
I
answer?
do know, but I don't know why you're asking me. If
Okay,
you
then
already
answer the
you know
question.
too.
Just say
You already
the
know.
Then answer the question.
Johnny,
No.
it's a year. Just say it. It's not that difficult.
I think you guys know. So why are you asking me? Do you guys not know? Like, you don't even let me say my argument.
So I'm giving you an argument right now, but you're refusing to participate in the argument because you're refusing to respond to a very simple question.
This argument is biased towards you. I want to give my argument.
No, I'm not. This is just a study in the American Heart Association journals. This is not biased towards me. This is just based on the data of
It's an
heart disease
argument that's going to
mortality.
benefit you. I got to give an
But
argument.
no
that benefits
shit,
you.
Johnny. No shit. That's how debates work.
Hey,
So
Four
why
Eyes.
why don't you provide data, Johnny? Because you just talk and talk and talk while she provides data. So why don't you provide data to back up your argument?
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll give you the answer.
I'll be right back. I'll be no. I'm staying online.
Trump was elected around this time right here. Why don't we see what happened to heart disease mortality around that time? Oh, well, would you look at that? It went from relatively flat and smooth to skyrocketing.
In 2022, Biden was the president.
See, it's going up, though,
And it
at that time.
Yeah, it's been going up since Trump.
So that doesn't help your argument. That doesn't help your argument, Johnny. That's all we're saying. And to be fair, this has nothing
why is
really
it going
to do
higher
too much
with Biden?
Johnny,
Actually, the peak is with a liberal.
Johnny, why don't you provide your data to back up your argument, okay?
Okay, but you got to allow me to.
This is not when Obama was elected. I don't know what you're talking
I'll be right
about.
back. I'll be right back.
Go ahead and grab it. Go ahead and
drop
grab
me.
it. We're not going to drop you. Go ahead.
Also,
I only have about 5 minutes, though, so you got to hurry.
All I'm going to say is Obama was not elected from 1990 to 2000.
Right.
So I don't know what the hell he was talking about there.
And yes, guys, he called me Four Eyes. He thinks it's such a big insult, apparently. Because we're in the 1950s, and apparently having glasses is not cool. Apparently. I literally only bring him up for entertainment. That's about it. He offers nothing else. Johnny, you do need to hurry up, though. I only have a few more minutes, okay? He wears glasses too, Lisa?
You hear me?
Not when you're off screen. I can hear you now.
I don't wear glasses. Oh, I can't screen share. You gotta drop me. I'll come back up. Okay?
Oh my god. It's painful, bro.
Yeah, he said that multiple times that I'm a joke at his workplace. Good. Give me more views. I don't give a shit. Johnny? Okay. All right. Your last chance, okay? Okay. What do you got?
Okay. Hold on. You gotta let me elaborate.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, but you probably.
We're all ready. We're all waiting.
You got it? Oh. 1 second. There we go. You gotta make me big screen.
What are you?
Oh,
what is it you're sharing? What is it?
This is the person. This is the person right here that Biden elected.
Yep, that's not evidence. You're about to talk about Rachel Levine. Rachel Levine was not the head of HHS.
She was a transgender person.
It doesn't have anything to do with the topic. Rachel Levine was not the head of HHS, and somebody being trans or not does not dictate anything that you're talking about. You're not providing data. We want data, Johnny. We don't want to do transphobia. If you do another transphobic thing, I am
this is
kicking
transphobic.
you and blocking you. Stop mentioning it. I will block you so we never have to hear
Hey,
from you again.
Pipsqueak, I'm not going after trans. I'm telling you that this person cannot be in charge of our health.
Hi, Johnny. We're never going to see you again.
Someone with a worm in his brain also can't be in charge of our health.
I don't know why they think Rachel Bean was the head of HHS. You guys fell for a Facebook meme. It was Xavier Becerra, or however you pronounce the last name, okay? No matter how much you guys hate trans people, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. Hate trans people all you want. Doesn't prove your argument about the topics here. Anyways, guys, I really do got to run now, okay? So, what a way to end live. See ya. Make sure you guys give her a follow, okay? Make sure you give me a follow and subscribe on YouTube. Hopefully I'll see you guys later, if not tomorrow for sure, okay? Everybody take care. God damn it. Fuck.